Hi, this is Bonnie from Fairy Stamper, and today we are going to continue with our series of making cards using the gel prints that I made a couple weeks ago, and I will always have that link down in the description so you can refer back to that if you'd like to. This is like I said, the third of 4 videos that I will be making. And today I decided to go with the square. The last video I made, I did the circle, and I'm going to have one more circle video to go. But at any rate, so kind of excited about today. I was thinking about what we could do with this paper, and I originally made it with the idea of it being a little bit more rustic-ish, kind of in a way. I'm not sure how it's going to turn out because I have not made this one, and so I just pulled out some things to give it to try it out. So I do know I am going to be putting stars in the background, and I am going to be putting embossing powder on it, and I don't want the embossing powder to get on anything else that I create, so the stars are going to go on first. But in order to do that, I had to have an idea of what I was putting down, and I'm going to be putting down a moon. And as you know, I have cut out several circles to use for my masking and making the glow around the moon. It just works really well for me. And so that is going to have to go down first, and then I'm going to go ahead and put my stars down. And this is Fairy Hugs stencil called Galaxy, and I really like this. I don't know if you can see. I'm going to do it this way. I really like this because you can see there's different sections that I can use, like if I want large or if I want, you know, a cluster of different. It works really well, so you can use different parts of the stencil. So I'm just going to go ahead actually and use it the way that it is. And I am just going to use Selvage Patina, not that it's going to show because I am going to be putting embossing powder over it. But I know I want it up in this direction from what I have been planning. So I just got to make sure that I get enough ink on there so that the embossing powder will hold it. There is a reason behind the stars back behind here because of the stamp that I'm going to be using is going to be looking up. And I thought it would be a great thing for the image to look up at these stars. So again, I'm using a blending brush just to get that ink on there. And I'm going to take a peek and see how we're doing. All right. Yeah, I just want a little bit more. Although I'm probably going to actually like just this without the embossing. But because of the sentiment too that I'm using, I need something with sparkle. Okay, so that is totally going to work. So the next thing I have to do is put the embossing powder on. Make sure, hoping that it will adhere. And it should. Now this has been dried for some time, so I didn't have to worry about the embossing powder sticking to that. So what I am using, is embossing tinsel copper, and this is from Ranger. And it is definitely it has a lot of sparkle to it, and that's what I needed. So let's see if this is going to stick like I'm hoping. All right, yep. So that's exactly what I'm going to need. Now, actually, it's kind of cool because some of it did not stick, and so I'm going to have a variation of the patina. That'll work really good. Not my intention, but that's going to work really well. I like that. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and emboss that, and I'll be right back. Okay, so just so you can see that there's a little bit of sparkle, and that was important for what I'm planning to do. So this is 3.5 inches, and I am putting that right back where I had that when I was putting the stars on. And again, I'm just going to use Selvage Patina to start. I'm not 100% sure that's where I'm going to go with this, but this is how I'm going to start. And all I'm going to do is give a little bit of a halo around this. And I know I've told you this before in other videos, but because I use this over and over again, sometimes it'll pull out the ink that's already on there, and that's okay with me for this one. This color part back behind is either Faded Jeans or Chip Sapphire. And sometimes, not always, sometimes it'll pull it. And especially it'll pull it off of this cardboard if my blending brush is damp. But I don't think I'm going to be getting that today. So let's take a peek. Yeah, just like I said, I just wanted a little bit of a glow. Okay. And I really have that now. You can see how that looks. And I think, because you can see everything in there, but I'm just going to go back very lightly over this whole thing with the patina. Not very hardly anything on my brush at all. I just like to soften that up a bit. And then that's how that's going to look. So now I'm all ready to do some stamping. I'm going to go ahead and get my stamping platform out and get that set up. Okay, so I'm all set up and ready to go to do some stamping. But before I do, I'm going to tell you about a couple new stamps that are in the Fairies Stamper store. And this is called Spotted Mushroom and FHS258. It is basically, let's see, just give you an idea about how tall. It is about 3.5 inches tall. And then we also have ink cap mushrooms. And there's 2 of them on here. And the tallest one is about 3.25. And the smaller one is about 2.25. And then I'm going to also be using, which I'm super excited about, is the new mice set. And there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different mice on here, and the sizes are different. These 2 are the same, but they're reversed, and this one's larger, this one's smaller. Same with this, same with this. So the ones on the left side are a little bit larger, but they're also a different reverse. It really makes really cute cards. So, and then I'm going to also be using this sentiment called Holiday Sparkle, because I'm still staying with the Christmas theme. So let's get these set up on here so you can see what my plan is. And this is how I plan out my cards. And you've seen that before too. It is harder when you have several on one of these to figure out exactly how that's going to go, but it really works. And I know that I need my sentiment so that it will fit in here on the moon, so I have to make sure everything is set based on that sentiment. So I think we've got that pretty much figured out there, and I can go ahead and get started. Now, I want the mushroom to be stamped first so that the mouse will be sitting on top. And what I'm going to do is, because I'm going to go ahead and make the mouse a little bit darker, I am going to be using Morning Mist for my mushroom. And I think that will work out really well. And the key always is trying to get that first impression really good, and so you don't have to add more layers. And sometimes if you do that, no matter what stamp you have, you will lose some of the definition. So as long as your ink pad is inked up well, you should do good at stamping. And in this case too, as you've been noticing, I also stamp with a lighter gray, because I can then also color on that with my pencils. And again, this paper has been sitting for a while, so it shouldn't have a problem, you know, being worried about the ink, except for now around the moon I could have a little bit of a haze in my stamping. But I think that looks pretty good. I am going to add one more layer because I do want it a tad bit darker. And I don't have a whole lot of fine lines in this stamp. And it also tells me I might have needed a little bit more ink in my Morning Mist. I need to re-ink it. Okay, let's see. Yeah, that's what I want. That looks good. Okay, so now the next one I'm going to go ahead and stamp will be the mouse. And I'm doing the one with a lantern. And I want him to look like he's sitting right there on top of that mushroom. And we'll get him set up. That looks pretty good. And now I'm going to be using Nocturne. Because like I said, I want him to pop a little bit more in the top of that mushroom and not blend in. Okay. And I know I've inked this one up really well. Because he does have details that I want to show up. This is such a cute little stamp. Yes, 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 yes. It's exactly what I want. I'm just going to show you a close-up. See how cute? He's just super cute. Okay, so now the next step will be to add my sentiment. And that's going to be my basic stamps. But then I'm going to add a little bit more mushrooms to the bottom. All right. Now this could also be, you could also make this one embossed and add a little bit of sparkle to it if you wanted to. But it would have been something I would have had to have done before I added all this other inking. Or I'd have to wait for some time for this to dry or heat set it. All right. I'm going to be using the Nocturne for this one too. I think I need to get that little piece off of there. Sometimes I get ink on my lid and I don't want that on the card. All right. Okay, that worked out really well also. And so for the next ones, I'm going to go ahead and add some of the mushrooms, the ink cap mushrooms to the bottom. And I think I'm going to put this one so that he's facing that. Whoa, I'm going to get my paper around the right way. Okay. So yeah, he's going to go this way. And it's going to be hard for me to close this. I might have to just layer it because I can't close with this hanging over my sample. So, I'm going to go just like that. And again, I'm going to use Nocturne on this one also. And there's two things about inking. If you do it dark, like the Nocturne, which isn't a big deal, you can still use your colored pencils because there's some of the pencils that respond really, really well, depending on your look, with the black. Whereas this one, the gray, I can use the lighter colors if I want to, or I can use the darker colors. But you know, it's like, how do I say it? It's like using black paper. And when you go to color on black paper, how some are more prominent, they glow a little bit better. Well, that's the same when you stamp with a black ink if you want to color it. There's some pencils that show up better. In fact, I think what I'm going to do is probably invest into some more pencils that actually color really well on black. And then I'm going to put this one right there. I think I'm going to go right there. I think you can see that. Pull that up a little bit better. Again, just using Nocturne. And like if I plan to color, I do not clear emboss anything. because I can't really color over the clear embossing. Anything that doesn't get stamped, like underneath here, I could have colored even if I clear embossed it. Okay. So both of those, they looked really, really good. I love the detail in those mushrooms. So that's pretty much my plan for making it, and I'm just going to embellish the rest of it, and we'll be done. So it's really a pretty simple card once you get your gel print created, and then you got to figure out what design you want on your paper. So I'm going to go ahead and figure out the next step, but that turned out really super cute. Okay, so I thought I'd add a little bit more of the frilly branches to the card, and so I'm going to be using VersaFine Clair Pine Cone, and I'm just going to put that along the side of the card to give it a little bit more interest. If I can get my lid off, there we go. And this will just give it a little bit of a framing. I don't want to take away too much from the stars either, because that's the whole deal with the sparkle. Yeah, that gives it a little bit of interest there. And I think I'm going to go a little bit at the top also. So I need to move my backing. There we go. I'm just going to go a little bit up here at the top also. I think I need to move that over. That's all right, I'll just clean it off. So again, like I said, I don't want to cover up too much of the stars. You can see that. All right, and plus because I've embossed those stars too, it won't ink that part up. And by you watching me, you can see like, okay, do I want to add that much more to what, you know, what's going on? You can make up your mind as you watch what I'm doing if you decide to do something like this. Okay, so I'm going to go to the other side and add a little bit there also. I am going to add a little bit of a mound right here. As you can kind of see, there's a little bit of a look to one already. Leave that there. I'm not using the same one, I don't believe. I'm going to be using the opposite side now. And I think I'm going to have it, because like I said, I think I'm going to have a mound right there. I'm going to have it coming from the, I think I am. Let's see. I like being able to test this out to see how that works. I think I'm going to go there. I think that works for what I'm wanting to do. I want to keep it a little bit away from the sentiment and not too much on the stars, I don't think. Let's see. Sometimes it's hard to decide. And I don't want this end. I think it's going to go there. I'll have enough of my, I think that'll work. All right. Take that off. Use the pine cone again. Yeah. All right, there we go. Got a little bit on my lid. Yeah, that'll work. And this works right here because, like I said, I'm going to add a little bit of ink down there also. Okay. Yep, I think that looks okay. I don't know if I want any more of that there. Hold on. Might use the other side. Yeah, I'm going to use the other side just to add a little bit more at the top. It's kind of nice because you don't have to use these the way, you know, to make them as an arch. You can use either side of them, how they work on your card. They've worked really well to use bits of them. That just makes it look like it continued on up, so I like that. Okay, I might end up adding more down here after I add the ink. Let's just go ahead and put the ink on the bottom, and then I can make a decision as to whether I want to add anything more to the bottom. So let's do that really quick. And what I'm going to use at the bottom of this is what I used when I made the gel. I believe I used Vintage Photo. And then I'm going to use a piece of one of my favorite pieces. And in this case, it is going to have to go right to the edge of that. You can see what I'm doing. I'm wanting to make sure I get that little bit. See if I can go down a little bit further. I want to make sure I get this little bit on the mound. I think that'll work well. And I'm going to, like I said, use Vintage Photo. So, get one of the blending brushes and make sure that's right where I want it. Let's see. Yeah, I think that works pretty good. Okay, so that is going to be how the card will look, and then I will go ahead and mat it. And I think I'm going to go ahead and color in the mushroom also. So you know what? I think I'll go ahead and pull those colors so you can just see what I did too, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I pulled 3 Prismacolor colors, and what I try to do is match up whatever color pencils you have as best as I can to the Selvage Patina. I'm going a little bit darker and lighter in some cases. So the colors that I chose was 105 Cobalt Turquoise and Non-Photo Blue, which is 919. And then my lighter color, which is Powder Blue, 1087. So what I did, and it's hard for you to see what I've done so far, but you can see if I put this close, how you can see the dark shows up a little bit. But if I put this far away, you can't really see it as I'm coloring it. But so I'm not going to really do too much other than to show you what it looks like in the end, but for the dark one. So just know that both of these mushrooms will be colored in that darker color. And then the cap, this one, I am going to be doing, and you can see, let me get that closer. You can see a little bit of the difference. You can, for real, a little bit better than in the video. But it does come across, and it kind of like gives it more of the glow instead of just being the gray, which is my intention. I had intended to color the cap of this. So all you have to do is just color that in, making sure your pencil is sharp so you can even get around those dots. But what you do in the end, even for the dots, is I come back in with a gel pen and I will dot those to make them whatever color I want. I'm not really sure. I'm thinking as I'm saying that if I want it to be white. I don't know, because the whole composition of this doesn't have any bright white in it. So I'm not 100% sure that I want to use my white gel pen for those dots. So we'll see what I end up doing in the end. I will, look at my gel pens and decide. I wish there was a cream one, but I have not seen a cream gel pen. Not to say there isn't one. I know that I don't have one in the stash of gel pens that I've bought. I know that there's gold, and I might go with a gold look, and I might go with a sparkle gold, because that again will go with my whole theme of what I'm doing with the sparkle sentiment. So that's all that is for that. I am going to go ahead and add a little bit of that to the bottom, and I guess right in through there. It just looks better than just the plain gray. Okay, and then the other thing that I decided is I am using the middle color, and I am coming out from up underneath, just adding just a little bit. And it really does make a difference when you go to stamp what is underneath what you've stamped on and how you color. Because I might have done something completely different if this would have been in a darker background behind it. Like if my gel print would have turned out to be darker here, I would have done something different. So it all depends on what it is that you're trying to accomplish with what's behind. So you can see that's colored in a little bit. And then I already did that for down here on this one. And I'm going to be doing the same here. You'll be able to see this if I do it on that one. So basically I start really close to the center and I add the dark color. But I don't add a lot. And you know, like if you're a Copic color, of course you have to use different inks and everything. I also think, because I used to always color in Copic colors, and so I still think in Copic in terms of how things would blend. And some of these pencils, if you use them in a way, you start learning what one will blend out the colors. And I usually find that this powder blue, when you're using any color blues, well, not any color, but a lot of the blues, it will blend it, but it's also a light color, so you have to get used to how that colors. But anyway, that's going to be how that looks. And I think I am going to go ahead, like I said, and add those gold. I can show you that too. But I'm going to do something with the stem because it is gray. So I am going to be taking the darkest color, and I'm just going to go on one side. And then I'm going to be taking the middle color, just like what you would do with Copics or anything else. It's like a blending. And you can kind of see how this works with a pencil. And then my lightest color. And I go back over with the lightest color, like it, just like I said, I don't know what it is, it just tends to blend it all together. And this is not, as you can tell, a very quick coloring. It's not any big deal. It's easy to do. And then you get that look. Make sure I got some of it. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'll finish coloring these in the darkest color, and then I'll be done with that. Now, what I did buy recently is a sparkle, some sparkle gel pens. I just don't think that this is the color. I don't think I want the sparkle, even though, let me look. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to give it a little try. I'm going to try one little spot to see how it looks. I'm not sure. Yeah, that's going to work. I thought maybe because the rest of this was a little bit darker sparkle, it wasn't going to work. It was going to be the wrong color of the gold. I would have liked to have had a copper sparkle, but I do not. Not a sparkle. This just adds to our theme, I guess. See, there's one there. Okay. Just this one. It's funny, when you go to show this up close to the camera, I can actually see it better. It's like, oh, I missed a spot. So you can kind of see that, the glitter to that, how that worked. And you can see the glitter on the stars. So it goes with our sparkle. And I think that all I'm gonna do is matte this and put it on a card base, and I will be finished. So I hope you enjoyed that. It was kind of fun. It didn't take us too long. So thanks for stopping by. And I always, at the end, I like to remind you about our Facebook group, the Fairy Stamper Hugs Facebook group. There is a challenge every 2 weeks. It's always on a Thursday. And it's just a magical theme. You can use any stamps. And the person that wins the challenge gets $15 towards a Fairy Stamper store, and you'll be able to buy your own Fairy Hugs supplies or anything else you want in the store. So I appreciate you stopping by. Thanks again. Bye.